whether or not that information is going to be made available.
If I remember correctly, there's a wrinkle to that. Once paperwork that's generated by these people is reviewed by a quorum of this body or anybody, that's when it becomes public. It's still a work product technically, when she's typing up the checks and all of that. The other thing is there's a need for those things to stay in order. That's why someone is there. Now, in the past, and Guy's been very good about this, she has said, would you like a list of the checks that are written?
Mm-hmm.
It's called the check register, and that has been more than satisfied people. So, and that helps her out. It also helps the citizen out who wanted that basic information.
One of the requests was, I want this accounts payable receipt for this month, and I will want all subsequent ones as the months go by. That's like proactively asking for, and so the question was, or the response was, I guess, they can't do it that way. They have to ask individually.
There has, the court has said there has to be a specific request.
But I think to diffuse that whole issue is to try to enforce in these people's minds and make them aware that all that's available to them without asking.
It's like a
Well, I mean,
dictionary.
they ask, but they just come in and say, I'd like to see the accounts payable file. I mean, it doesn't elevate, it's not elevating itself to some sort of legal maneuver
It's the
or
same as
91A.
this, same as this green folder here. It's correspondence.
All of it is available.
Sure. And we make it available.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
So finally, I bring this to a close. I did instruct Karen and Diane that they cannot decide a 91A request. They can't make that recommendation or decision because they're not empowered to do that, and they shouldn't be. It shouldn't be on their head to make that kind of decision.
That's correct.
It has to come to us. That's why we were elected. So they get sort of mired in the multiple requests by a few individuals, and they just, if there's a question, they have to just submit the request to the selectmen. And we're not obligated to meet every day of the week. If a request comes in this afternoon, it'll get heard on Friday. Whether or not they like that, and honestly, I'll go to court all day long over that. We're a volunteer board. If we're not meeting this week, it'll get heard next week. That's, and we ran into this at the county, and I get a little animated about this notion that I'm going to ask on Thursday for them, and they have to answer the question by Friday. I'm thinking, I'm not here. I'm not going to come in here either.
And can I please ask what your suggestions would be for, if a document's just not readily available and it's going to take time, some of them take hours or hours, a couple of days. There's a form, as you know, that we have with our policy. Do you want individuals filling that form out? That's how I understood it.
Well, yes, the purpose of that form is to protect their rights. It also protects the town's rights. This is what we were requested.
But you haven't enforced that form in the past or the recent past.
Right.
So now it appears from the public's standpoint that you're just poking something that's smelly.
How do we avoid that, sir?
Then maybe what you do is say, okay, this policy was enacted, and starting and pick a day in the close future.
I'd be willing to.
From this day forward, we're going to want that.
I would be willing to negotiate.
Max would like a public hearing on it, and I don't have a problem with having this forum that constitute that.
Sure.
I think asking for that today, without having not done it in the recent past, and without any sort of
Be culture shock.
Right.
Well, it's bad form. I don't think that's the way. It just looks like it's being obstructionist. And
What we don't want to do is single out specific individuals for
Yeah.
different treatment.
Yeah, make
Every-
one do it and
every-
somebody else not do it.
Right.
Yeah, I misunderstood that instruction there, because I thought you wanted that.
Everybody
you wanted
ought to
that, so I
be-
misunderstood.
Dealt with in the same,
Mhm.
in the same way.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea the form existed.
Oh, well, that was just my understanding, misunderstanding. And I
Okay.
thought from that point forward, if something was of a large request, that they had to fill out a form on 91A for a request.
If
I
it's-
guess maybe I
so-
put the word form in there, just thinking,
Right,
because.
no, I want, when you folks say, okay, it's not on the accounts payable, it's not on readily available files, and it's
Right.
something that I'm not certain is gonna be available, then they need to file a proper 91A,
That, maybe that's where I got stuck on the
formal
form. when I
91A
heard proper.
request,
Yeah.
and that comes to us.
Yes.
Whether it be an email or a form or whatever.
Whatever, or
How-
how are we gonna do it, and we'll decide how we're gonna, well, obviously, we're
Well-
doing it by email currently.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So,
And I think that if you look at the form, if somebody uses that form, then all of the pieces of information that are needed to research and respond to requests is there. And so it can sort of be like a checklist to make sure that
all right.
that we have a good understanding of what it is they're asking for.
Yeah, we're always gonna be accused of hiding the ball, even though we're just local citizens like everybody else. But I think, and it would be difficult, I think, on some occasions, for them to be specific enough to include everything in the universe that they want. And it's unfortunate that they don't just tell us what they're looking for, but it does.
That's their right.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
So once you folks review it, then we're fine to move ahead with it, is that correct?
Sure.
Yeah.
Unless you tell me otherwise. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Right. But most of what I've heard him ask for, or heard any number of people ask for, doesn't really qualify for 91A as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
It's like-
providing
like the-
emails for,
No, but the
a
attorneys,
topic that. it just
receipts
won't-
for the attorney's fees.
Oh, yeah, that's easy.
You know, stuff
Well,
like
you
that.
guys have to look at the attorney invoices, so that's the problem. So there are little
Yeah.
things here and there.
But anyway, I'm sure this.
Well, we have been
conversation-
advised by two councils to do it, to have you folks review those.
Yeah,
Sure. Okay. It's a work in progress.
and speaking of legal, and I don't want this meeting to go any more than an additional 2 minutes.
You have 1 hour, I have 30 seconds of it.
We actually have bills for ZBA, for legal bills on a
Oh,
FISA
yeah.
case. And we have bills for planning board, for Attorney Murray, who they hired for advice. So I think we need to break that legal line up. There's also some legal bills for the cemetery, we can add a cemetery line. But I think it'd be a lot clearer for the public who, for whatever reason, thinks that the three of us sit around and try to figure out ways to spend the legal line.
On that note, I thought you did yeoman's work, trying to answer the specific questions. Thought one individual loses sight of the fact that legal efforts are more than just lawsuits and Perry Mason.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you can educate.
Well, you don't, and part of it is, it's sort of a simplistic look at the world. You have $40,000 or whatever it is on your legal line, hopefully you don't use it. But are you gonna go uninsured? We have no idea what sort of actions might be brought before this.
Well, a perfect
board.
example is the only reason why we're involved in Middle Road Trust is we own the dirt road. All the parties in the state have been warring and whatnot. Didn't involve.
Well, we also have 14 employees and we have a lot of moving parts.
Right.
And,
Okay.
it would be unreasonable not to have it.
We had a voice. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I might just,
50.
back to my budget. Should I put the extra 2 in there, and if we get the vehicle, it won't be used? So I don't have to look for it next year?
I don't think you'll have to look for it next year, but
It's a warrant article, so I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Will $1,000 work for fixing the truck that you currently have? No. So, how much to fix the truck that you currently have?
That's the $3,000 you're saying.
Yeah, it'll be over 2 to fix it, and then we'll leave some in there for oil changes and stickers as
So
well.
Can't they be mentioned at the budget committee, and if they wanna add it, they will?
Yeah, you give them the choice. You
Okay.
put $3,000 on the
Well, I'll be there
line,
then,
fix
I'm
the
just
truck, or
curious,
you
because you
wanna
have to approve
If at the end of the
budget before they
year,
go there.
it's obvious the warrant article isn't gonna apply, then we'll add another $2,000.
Right.
Okay,
And the other thing, I finally got an answer back from the cleaner, and they don't want to do it, so. How's that?
okay.
So,
That's not.
I'll
we're
see if I
looking-
can find
we're looking
somewhere
for-
else
Yeah.
that'll do it for that money, so
We only have 10 seconds left.
I want to try and wait.
Oh, jeez.
Selectmen's updates.
Okay, I will be brief since I've taken a lot of time already. I just want to highlight that I will be away from the 26th of this month through the 5th of November. Okay?
You get to go away?
Yeah,
I
Have
had
you
no
voted on
idea.
that?
so,
Can you do that? I had no idea you could do that.
Do you want
just
us
have
to
to
change
do
any
it.
meeting dates?
no, there are no meetings scheduled during that
Okay.
time. So our first meeting in November is on the 6th, and I will be here for it.
Okay.
So,
We had a successful budget hearing, or budget meeting with the budget committee. And I don't know what else, we've discussed almost every part of that meeting
yeah.
Yeah.
in different spots during. the
Nice
meeting.
job.
I understand somebody was referring to their constituents.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit, I actually lost to a person when I ran for the county commissioner who was determined that she only represented the people who voted for her. And I have always had a struggle with that. I know that some people, maybe even some people in this room didn't vote for me, but I feel obligated to represent them if I have to vote. So
Absolutely, so.
I don't think it's, I don't have a constituency, so I don't have.
Everyone's your constituent.
I have a lot of constituent issues, but I don't have any constituencies.
Anything else, sir?
No,
Lake Street boat ramp is being worked on. They're pouring-
Lake Road, yeah.
Okay, and River Reach dock replacement is being worked on, so it's gonna be busy with construction equipment. But isn't it nice that both those companies are kinda clogging up the area after Columbus Day, so. Anything else? Go ahead.
I'm still confused as to where we are on the right to know requests. If someone comes in and asks for something that they cannot, Diane or Karen cannot
Right.
do automatically, then it's,
That it's your job as the requestor to make a request of the selectmen.
okay, and wait for them when they're gonna meet. But this form was brought up. When was this form, when did it come into being? I've never heard of this form because when I requested things, there's no
I
form.
heard of it this
It-
morning.
It was before I was on this board, so it's been around for a while.
Okay, so is it now? No.
We're gonna-
Maybe I haven't had
we're
enough
gonna talk
coffee.
about it. We're gonna
Okay, so
review
we
it
haven't
again.
decided yet.
Well, we're gonna talk about it and then we're gonna elicit public response, I hope. But I mean, if we're gonna do a forum, we're gonna have, you know, at least some public backing and we're gonna have it be for everyone.
So at this point, the form is not going to be used until you discuss it in the public.
If a person wants to use it, just so it's a matter of record,
Okay.
it's available.
There was a misunderstanding of the word. I misunderstood
Okay.
the advice
Formal.
of proper.
No, I
right to know
understood that. I
request, so
just
I
wasn't
thought it
quite
meant the
sure
form.
I had
where
used
we
the
were
word-
at this moment.
I had used the word with Karen, formal request.
Yeah, or something like that, and I took
And
it as the
Or
document
the
that we had.
form of the
Oh,
request.
Karen, we don't blame you, we blame the
But
select.
I certainly wouldn't listen to me if I were having my choices.
And someone else had their hand up.
Well, if you do have a form, you could put it online so it doesn't.
It is online.
Okay, so it doesn't take anyone any more time to fill it out. They just do it and send it in. It's not,
And he's been articulate, they both have.
Yeah.
This is not some
that's
sudden.
not really asking for much. You don't have a meeting next week, is that right?
I have no idea.
I looked on
Next
it.
Monday, that's
Friday.
correct. We
You
don't.
don't, so you don't for 2 weeks.
Friday we have a meeting.
We have a meeting,
Your work
a work session on Friday, yeah.
Okay,
at 8:30, right?
Oh, God. Okay,
Correct?
Yeah.
wow,
8:30?
okay.
Whatever. Yeah.
I passed along a notice from one of our Wolfboro reps. There's a state energy strategy listening session on Thursday in the Great Hall in Wolfboro, but it's for everyone. It's at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
What they do is they send out a notice for everything, but they don't publicize it. So I don't know how you get people to come, but hopefully your energy committee people and Wolfboro's energy committee people will be there. And also, Bill, as far as grant writing, can volunteers do that?
Sure.
So for instance, you have a lawyer on the energy committee, maybe he would do that.
There's actually a lawyer waiting here.
Yeah.
You might be surprised how many people in this town have been trained to be grant writers. It's a very precise thing. I went through a workshop, and trust me, you'd never find me writing a grant. It's very time consuming.
There's, tomorrow at the town house, there's the public health meeting, right?
There is a health meeting here in Tuftonboro, and then there's going to be one in Wolfboro on the 25th. And as far as drop boxes, Wolfboro PD is getting a drop box, I think from Rite Aid, putting it in their lobby. But Wolfboro has a different situation because they're open 24/7,
That's
so
right.
there's always someone there.
That's right.
But that is there to make it easy to get rid of drugs from your medicine chest.
And there was that correspondence.
You serve lunch?
Is that it?
They serve lunch?
Anything else?
You know, back in the day, the selectmen had their meetings at the restaurant.
Or at their home?
Per our discussion Friday,
Some places serve drinks.
and you said that the legislature voted for themselves to have an extra session to discuss long and tooth conversations of certain subjects. I would like you, next time you see
No. What I said was they specifically exempted themselves from 91A
Okay,
so that they could have in-depth discussions.
so it was a particular in-depth discussion.
No, just the legislature can talk about anything they want, and none of it is subject to the right to know law.
And why can that not be imposed here for
Because
citizens?
everything we do is subject to the right to know law.
Well, We,
We are not exempt. The legislature exempted themselves, not us. We don't have that option.
we only have the authority to do those things that the legislature grants us the authority for.
I think you have the power to do that, so just toss it away.
We could.
Yeah, have to solve. All right, thank you very much.
All right. I don't mean-
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Let me make a
Out the
copy
door.
for you.
Thank you very much.